Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's section of reads. This should be on the YouTube channel James 13 Wicca in case you're seeing it somewhere else. The dice and decks I'm using below, they're listed below. Dice and decks I'm using are listed below, sorry. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching. Let's go ahead and get into your selection. Hello, Aries. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Aries? I don't know yet. Where are we going, Aries? That's it. That's it. Okay. This is a curious one. Whatever this is pertaining to in your life, I feel like you haven't been satisfied with it. I feel like this card can be a little bit too literal. It feels like this, it doesn't mean it's been like this, which is interesting. So, it's almost, if it was a dating thing, we're going to do a couple different versions. If it was a dating thing, it's not like you haven't had dates. It's just nothing is really clicked like you wanted it to. So there might be technical motion, but to you, you're like, no, not really, if that makes sense. Business, by the way, same thing. Opportunities may have been coming your way, but nothing you really wanted. So it feels like this is more like explaining how you've been relating to it. It doesn't have to be literally nothing has been happening. It's more like nothing that you really wanted. It's kind of like everything's been the same level. Nothing has been moving it forward where you want it to. Nothing's been really triggering you to go like, yeah, I want that. It doesn't have to be, especially because it's a general read, it doesn't have to be literally nothing is moving. I'm more of an intuitive reader, just to be fair. And some people have a harsher view of this card. You got to do what was right for you. But for this reading, I'm getting it feels like nothing has really made a difference. It's kind of like, yeah, I've had people ask me out, but nobody I wanted to. It could be that. It doesn't have to mean anybody's good, bad, or indifferent. I just remember this one person, they had really attractive people asking them out, but they were like, yeah, but none of them had the qualities I was actually looking for, and I didn't do anything with any of them, so it didn't matter what they looked like. The personalities just didn't trigger what I needed them to trigger. You're going with the energy as best you can at the moment. And I feel like I'm reevaluating the whole situation. I feel like I'm looking at this like, how can I change the current? What can I do to get more of what I'm actually looking for? Because I don't see it showing up the way things are going. And you're kind of like, you're taking maybe a pause to kind of like, all right, how do I actually find what I'm looking for? Because what I'm doing isn't working. What other versions could I potentially move forward with? You're already in that energy if this reading is hitting. Kind of like, what do I need to do this differently? Because this isn't working. I understand it's going your way, but like, okay. There's something here that's just a little like, what's going on here? So, my brain is just stopping. It's swords. It's the Four of Swords. There's healing. And then the Wheel of Fortune is kind of like, it's faulty. It's coming in and out. It's not, the Wheel of Fortune coming in it's not like always there. It's just kind of here and there. I don't know how to explain this. This is weird because the Wheel of Fortune isn't reliable anyway. But it's still like, it seems like it could be still random and then nothing. And then it seems like, well, I guess it's over, but then it's not. I don't know, the random really weird sense of Wheel of Fortune going on here. And it may not be that intense. I keep going along with things. You have the Four of Swords twice, in the sense of like there's a lot of healing. But the thing is, it's not that you're not participating. You're out there doing what you need to do. You're showing up. You're doing what needs to be done. But it's kind of also like things are changing. Things are reforming. You're starting to look for a different way to do things, and it's gonna show up. What you're looking for will show up. You're doing a lot of healing. I understand. Like, this part is slow. It does feel slow to me. And I think that's why we're getting stuck in it for a second, because they're saying, yeah, you're probably not done with this part yet if this is where you are. But it is leading somewhere better. And there's a lot of value coming in for you. There's a lot of value coming in. And I get that, like, I'm ready for it today. I'm ready for it now. I've been ready for it for a while now. And I don't want to wait anymore. And it's like, oh, this reminds me, I just did a recent reading about somebody who had something that they were ready to finish. They're ready to move on. But the reading kept coming up. Well, we respect that you're ready, but the situation isn't. And it's just not coming forward yet. This is where we are with this. Doesn't matter if I like it. It's just how it's coming in. But the value is coming. How far out? I would say by this time next year, you're going to be out of this energy. But it's different for all of you. Could be 2 days, could be 2 months, but by this time next year, you will be out of this energy. The value will show up, it will come forward. They want to prepare you for when it does come in. That's the thing. Okay. Because whatever you're looking for will show up. And you'll know it. You'll feel that charge. The thing is, when it does show up, it's almost like, I don't know if I can do that. It's something like that. Why is that showing up? Aries is very strong and usually, in my opinion, optimistic. But for some reason, when this shows up, I get that, like, I don't know if I can do this. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of, I don't know what sign they were, but I remember this person having 3 jobs. And like, I'm like, when do you sleep? And they're like, what's that? I'm like, not funny, dude, not funny. It's kind of like, how much, like, well, if I really do this and I really, like, you know, burn the candle at both ends, I probably could get away with it for a while, blah, 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 blah. Be careful when this shows up not to bend yourself into a pretzel. That's not going to work well for you. You could end up putting a lot on yourself, feeling like, well, as long as I'm the one putting in the effort and this is what I want, then that's my business. And if that's what I want to do, then that's what I'll do. It makes sense that you'll do it the way you want to do it, but at the same time, the Wheel of Fortune is going to come back very strong and give you a lot of problems. It's kind of like, you know, I don't remember how it worked out for that person, but I've heard of other people overworking themselves and then they have problems, like they get sick, so they have asthma, or they could get into an accident, something. Like, it's not going to work well. It doesn't need to be rickety like that. That's a version to go where it's like, well, I finally found what I want, so I'm going to make it work, because it could be a long time before I find another one. And then, like, burning the candle at both ends, it's not a good idea. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. What you could do is another version of this, is just address your restraints. It doesn't have to be financial, by the way, because I'm getting with this, especially since it's a general read, it's some type of restraint. Addressing your restraints and putting the energy towards what you can realistically do. Addressing the restraints, like, you know, the person working the 3 jobs. I still don't know how they did that. I don't even know how long it lasted for. But it's kind of like, all right, maybe a second job is okay, but also having that within some type of limits. I remember one person I knew, they had 2 jobs. I mean, I still thought that was a lot. But they worked Monday through Friday with the work. And then Saturday and Sunday they had to themselves. So they balanced it. I personally thought that was still a lot. I still was like, wow, that's pretty impressive, because, like, I thought that was a lot. Because it was like, it wasn't like it was easy jobs. It was like they had 2 full-time jobs, and it was still like, I don't know how you're balancing that. But then they would take the weekends for themselves. They did it. They successfully did it. I'm not saying you should have, I'm just saying step back. What can you realistically do? Address your constraints. Address your limitations. Be honest with yourself. How far can your body take you? How far can the situation take you? It could be financial. You know what I mean? What do you need to do to actually still be in a healthy place, or fairly healthy place, and still be able to maintain it, but like address the restraints, address them. So like, even when I'm looking at this person that did 2 full-time jobs and had the weekend off, I still think that's a lot. So it's almost like maybe doing a full-time job and 1 part-time job and then having the weekends off. Maybe that's possible. Maybe that's okay. I don't know. It depends on your life. The person I remember, I think they worked from like 7 to 3, and then they did another job like after that from like 4 to midnight. I think it was something like that. I don't remember exactly how it went. But like, say you worked 7 to 3, and then you worked from 4 to 8, and then, you kept repeating the process and had weekends off. Okay, maybe that's doable. But it's like realizing what your restraints are, thinking to yourself, if I did this every day for 2 years, or possibly even 3, how far do I go before I really start having problems? What if I get sick? What if this? How do I actually handle that? What if I get so sick that I just can't do it? That type of stuff. It's all about addressing and being honest with yourself, because you want this. Whatever this is, they want you to have it. They're trying to help you have it, but it's like, I feel like if I go into this burning the candle at both ends, it just never stops. And whatever this might be that you're going into, however you're maintaining it, may not stop. That's the thing. And kind of like look at it that way. What if it doesn't stop? What if this goes on for 2, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? How far can you realistically go doing it this way? And they're kind of like, if you address the restraints, it's like if I have a full-time job and a part-time job and I have the weekends off, after 10 years, I'm probably going to be really sick of it. But maybe I can realistically do that. The situation will reform anyway. It just doesn't have to be painful for you. If I've already addressed the restraints, I feel like I've already planned ahead accordingly. And I do feel like when the problem shows up with that 2 of Swords, it'll be a lot easier to adapt and continue on the way you want to. There's a problem coming either way. I just feel like if I'm burning the candle at both ends, I just feel like it's more catastrophic. If I've already addressed the limitations and adjusted accordingly, when the block comes in, it's kind of like, I don't like it, but I can get through it. It's not as bad. Still don't like it, but it's not catastrophic. I know that sounds a lot, but that's how it's coming through. The moment will come where it has to be reformed anyway. It's almost like the truth comes to light. And it may not be the truth that you're telling somebody else. It may be the truth that you're telling yourself. Because I feel like we all do this sooner or later. It's like, I thought that was the truth, but then life showed me, well, I was wrong. That type of truth. You know what I mean? It will reform. It will be okay. But it's like, it doesn't have to be catastrophic. And that's the point. They're trying to make this to the point where you address it ahead of time. And when it happens, you're like, I don't like this, but I can deal with it. Versus like, it just wiped right out and I'm like in a hospital for 3 months. That's horrible. Nobody wants that for you. You know what I mean? I don't want that for you, at least. You know what I mean? There's a little bit more here. After this reforms, after you get past this block, the Ace of Cups shows up, and then there's this moment where things have to be reevaluated and what actually works here and what actually doesn't. But the Ace of Cups is telling me you're very well liked, you're very respected for your initiative, but it will have to be reevaluated, and it's going to get stuck for a moment. I feel like this is also talking about that 2 of Swords energy. But there's a lot of like, people want you here, people want this to work, people want this to be a success. So they're going to try to work with you. It just could be a laboring process to try to figure out the right way to get this to actually flourish. But there's a lot of like people wanting this to be something that you're a part of. And there's a lot of like social backing here. Like they want you here. This energy wants you here. And it will return to things moving forward again. It will return, but that block's going to happen either way. It's just like, I just feel like if it hits the catastrophic level, I don't know what happens there. I don't know how bad that means. It doesn't have to be horrible. There's going to be a block, but it doesn't have to be like the worst thing in the world. So they're saying if you address it first and you're like, you address your limitations and you work with your limitations, it's not going to be a moment you like, but it doesn't have to be the worst moment in the world. That's all. That's the whole point of this. And they want you to succeed. The other version, where if you don't address your restraints, it could result in an ending. The situation could end because of it. I'm just saying. I didn't want to say it that way, but it keeps coming back like you're avoiding it. Stop avoiding it. So I'm going to stop avoiding it. The other way, if you just kind of try to bully it forward and do the candle burning at both ends, it could cause the situation that you want to end. It doesn't have to. By addressing and working with your restraints, it will still hit that moment you don't like, but it doesn't have to end it. It actually, I feel like you'll make it through successfully. The other version, maybe not so much. Okay. I didn't want to be that harsh about it, but it is what it is, and Aries likes the truth, and that is the truth that I'm getting, so take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.